It starts with a number. A single, cold figure on a screen that can change everything. For me, that number was 0. $0 approved, 0 hope. It felt like the weight of it was crushing. A physical pressure in the room. I saw the future I had planned for my family crumble into pixels and error messages. How do you tell the people you love that the safety net is gone? The silence in our home was suddenly deafening, filled with unspoken fears and a loud thumping of my own anxious heart. My daughter, Sarah, saw it in my face. The carefully constructed mask of everything is fine had slipped. The questions in her eyes were harder to face than any bank's rejection letter. That evening, I sat them down. The words, "we need to cut back," felt like a personal failure. I laid out the new budget, a harsh document of sacrifices and subtractions. No more pizza nights, no more new shoes, no more little luxuries we took for granted. I was braced for tears, for arguments, for the teenage angst I'd read so much about. Instead, Sarah listened quietly, her expression thoughtful. Then, she did something unexpected. She pulled out an old, dusty notebook from the bookshelf. "What if we make another ledger?" she asked, her voice steady. Not for money, but for everything else. She called it the gratitude ledger. At first, I didn't get it. What good were happy thoughts when the bills were piling up? But she was insistent. She opened it to the first page and wrote, "Grandma's recipe for stew." She looked at me, a challenge in her eyes. "That's an asset, right?" I hesitated, then nodded slowly. My mother, who had been quietly knitting in the corner, smiled softly. Sarah pushed the book towards me. I thought for a moment, then picked up the pen. Sarah's laugh, I wrote. A small, genuine smile touched my lips for the first time all day. It felt surprisingly good. The ledger became a strange, new family ritual. We started noticing things we'd been too busy to see before. A broken lamp wasn't a crisis anymore. It was an opportunity. I found an old tutorial online, and Sarah and I spent an afternoon fixing it. The triumphant click when the light switched on felt better than buying a new one. We wrote it down. Dad fixed the lamp, and we didn't electrocute ourselves. We started taking walks in the park instead of going to the movies. We documented the golden hour light through the trees and the smell of rain on hot pavement. It was a different kind of accounting, one where the balance only ever went up. Slowly, the panic in my chest began to recede. It was replaced by something else, something quieter and warmer. The fear of what we didn't have was being crowded out by the appreciation for what we did. One afternoon, our neighbor, Mr. Henderson, brought over a bag of tomatoes from his garden. Just because he had too many, he didn't want anything for them. Kindness from a neighbor, Sarah scribbled in the book that evening. I watched her, and the tightness in my shoulders eased a little more. We were still broke. Technically, the numbers in my bank account hadn't changed, but our home felt richer. The laughter was louder, the conversations were longer. We were creating value out of thin air, out of moments, out of each other. Then came the day of the town's fall festival. In previous years, it was an expensive outing. This year, we decided to have our own celebration at home. My mother spent the day cooking that famous stew, the one that held the first entry in our ledger. The whole house filled with the smell of herbs and simmering broth, a scent that smelled like generations of love and resilience. We didn't have a feast fit for a king, but as we gathered around the small wooden table, the candlelight danced across the faces of the people I loved most in the world. The stew was simple, but it was the most delicious meal I'd ever tasted. I looked at Sarah, her face glowing. I looked at my mother, her eyes full of a quiet, knowing peace. They weren't worried, they were happy. They were here, with me. The financial storm was still raging outside, but inside our little home, we had built an ark. After we ate, I pulled out the ledger. The pages were filled now, a messy, beautiful collection of our shared life. I cleared my throat and read an entry from a few weeks back, one Sarah had written, "Dad's hug when I was sad." I looked up at her, and my eyes filled with tears, but not of sadness or fear. They were tears of gratitude. The numbers on a screen didn't define our worth. The rejections didn't erase our value. Our real wealth wasn't in a bank. It was right there, sitting around the table, written in ink in a dusty old notebook. It was the love, the resilience, the simple, profound joy of being a family. And in that moment, I felt like the richest man in the world. Thank you so much for joining us on this little journey. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more stories that explore the heart of what truly matters. We'd love to have you in our community. Until next time, take care.